And the seventh angel poured out his vial into the air, signifies influx from the Lord into all things collectively with the man of the Church of the Reformed. But the seventh angel pouring out his vial is here signified in flux as before. By the air is signified all the things of perception and thought, thus of their faith. Thence also the general quality of all those there who are in faith separate from charity, for by the air their respiration is signified. And respiration corresponds to the understanding, and thus to perception and thought, and also to faith, because faith is of thought, according to the perception of the understanding. Once again, it's very important, because what is faith? Faith. Because, once again, and respiration corresponds to the understanding, and thus to perception and thought, and also to faith, because faith is of thought according to the perception of the understanding. Yeah, I mean, if you understand, because if you have faith, but we don't understand that, it means that our faith is like a blind faith, because we cannot understand that. But it's not like real faith. But real faith is like because it is of thought according to the perception of the understanding. It means that the first we should have understanding about God and about His kingdom, and if we understand that, it means we can get and we can have the perception of the understanding. Like perception is like a revelation, and this perception of the understanding gives us real faith about God, because because from that revelation we can know that God is, in this sense, that that there is a correspondence, and that everyone in the spiritual world breathes according to his faith, breathes according to his faith, as being fully shown in the angelic wisdom concerning the divine love and wisdom. And there went forth a great voice out of the temple of heaven from the throne, saying, "It is done," signifies that it was thus made manifest by the Lord, that all the things of the church were devastated, and that the last judgment was now at hand. But a great voice going forth out of the temple of heaven is signified a manifestation from the Lord out of the inmost of heaven. By a great voice is signified manifestation. And by the temple of heaven, the inmost of heaven is signified, from which the influx is. It is set out of the throne because heaven is signified by the throne, and likewise judgment, that it signifies heaven, and judgment. And this because it is now made manifest that all things of the church were devastated, and thus that its end has come, and at the end of the church judgment is executed. Wherefore this is said, when the last angel poured out his vial from the temple of heaven, from the throne, by it is done is signified, he poured out his vial from the temple of heaven, from the throne. By it is done is signified that it is consummated. That is, that all things of the church are devastated. See above. Any comments before we read next verse? And if someone wants to read next verse, we read here verse by verse. You can read. Verse 18. And there were voices and lightnings and thunders, signifies reasonings, falsifications of truth, and arguments from the falsities of evil in the church among those who are in faith alone, and refuse to reject upon the evils in themselves, since they do not wish to recede from them if they know them. That by voices, lightnings, and thunders are signified reasonings, falsifications of truth, and arguments from falsities may be evident from what is said above, and from similar things there, that they who are in faith separated from the works of the law, and thence in evils of life, refuse to reflect upon the evils in themselves, because they do not wish to recede from them if they know them, is manifest without explanation. Experience teaches this. For evils are delights, because they are loves, and no one wishes to recede from delights unless he looks to the life after death, and first to hell to see what it is, and afterwards to heaven what that is, and thinks of them aside from any evil act. If he then looks to the Lord also, and thinks, what is the temporal in comparison with the eternal? Is it not as nothing? He can then reflect upon his evils and wish to know them, and to recede from them. But if he had confirmed himself in faith alone, he will then say in his heart, our theological faith that God the Father has mercy for the sake of the Son, who suffered for our sins. If I supplicate this with some confidence, it affects all things. Supplicate, what is this? Supplicate. Supplicate.
Supplicate.
It's like back. Beseech.
Beseech.
Beseech. Back. Supplicate. If I supplicate this with some confidence, it affects all things. He then does not reflect upon any evil in himself. He also says with himself from that faith that evil does not condemn, and that salvation is pure mercy, besides other similar things. He thus remains in his evils and delights himself in them even to the end of life. Such are the reasonings, the falsifications of truth, and the arguments from the falsities of evil, which are here signified by the voices, the lightnings, and the thunders. And there was a great earthquake, such as was not since men were upon the earth. Such an earthquake, so great, signified as it were shakings, convulsions, overturnings, and the drawing down from heaven of all the things of the church, that by an earthquake changes in the state of the church are signified, may be seen above. And as earthquakes are lighter and more severe, here the most severe, because it is said that such an earthquake had not occurred since men were made. It is manifest that by the earthquake here are signified the shakings, convulsions, and overturnings of all things in the church, and the drawing of them down from heaven. It is also said of the dragon, who is called the old serpent, the devil and Satan, that his tail drew down from heaven the third part of the stars, and cast them unto the earth. Revelation 12:4. In like manner of the he god, Daniel 8:10-12, the Lord also says of the end of this church, there shall then be great affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the world to this time, nor ever shall be. Matthew 24:21. The end of the church is also described in the prophets by the shakings, overthrowings, and casting down of the earth, and by other things which relate to earthquakes. Any comments? Maybe. Verse 19. And the great city was divided into three parts, and the cities of the nations fell. Signifies that the church as to doctrine was altogether destroyed by them, and likewise all the heresies which have emanated from it. That the doctrine of the church is signified by a city, or what is the same, the church as to doctrine, may be seen above. Hence, by the cities of the nations are signified the heretical doctrines or heresies which have emanated from it, which are many. By being divided into three parts is signified to be altogether destroyed, for by being divided in the word is signified to be dissipated. What is dissipated? Dissipated. I forgot this word.
Dissipated.
Dissipated, like scattered. Dissipated. Because in that case they do not cohere, and by three is signified all and the whole. Hence, by being divided into three parts is signified to be altogether destroyed. By falling, which is said of the cities of the nations, is also signified to be destroyed. It is said that the city was divided into three parts, and that the cities of the nations fell, because an earthquake was mentioned just before, in which such effects have place. By the great city is meant the great city spoken of above, chapter 11:8, which is there called Sodom and Egypt, as may be seen above. The reason why a city signifies doctrine, and then cities signify doctrinals, is because by land, and particularly by the land of Canaan, is signified the church. And since the church is a church from doctrine and according to it, therefore by cities are signified doctrinals. These were also taught in cities, because in them were synagogues, and in Jerusalem was the temple. Hence it is that by Jerusalem is signified the church as to doctrine, in a universal sense. And great Babylon came in remembrance before God, to give unto her the cup of the wine of the wrath of his anger. Signifies then the destruction also of the dogmas of the Roman Catholic religion. By Babylon as a city, as here, is signified that religious persuasion as to its dogmas and doctrinals. By giving her the cup of wine of the wrath of the anger of God is signified to devastate until there is nothing but evil and falsity. That this is meant by the cup of the wine of the wrath of the anger of God. See above. Any comments, maybe? Okay, verse 20. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found. Signifies that there was no longer any truth of faith, nor any good of love. Like in the end of the age. And every island fled away, and the mountains were not found, signifies that there was no longer any truth of faith, nor any good of love. Verse 21. And great hail as of the weight of a talent cometh down from heaven upon men, signifies direful and atrocious falsities, by which every truth of the word and thence of the church is destroyed. That hail signifies falsity destroying truth and good, may be seen above, and because it is said great hail as of the weight of a talent is signified direful and atrocious falsities, by which every truth and good of the word and thence of the church is destroyed. The reason why it is said of the weight of a talent is because a talent was the largest weight of silver and also of gold, and by silver is signified truth, and by gold good, and in the opposite sense falsity and evil. It's been said that the hail cometh down from heaven upon men is according to the appearances from which and from correspondences is the literal sense of the word. This is similar to what was said before of the plagues, that they were poured out from heaven upon men by angels, when yet they are truths and goods, sent down by the Lord, which among those who are below and turned into falsities and evils. In the spiritual world also, among those who are engaged in reasonings from falsities against the truth of the word, hail sometimes appears to come down, and upon others sulfur and fire, and because these appear in the atmosphere above them, and come as it were from heaven, therefore from that appearance it is said that such hail came down from heaven. And man blasphemed God because of the plague of hail, for the plague thereof was exceeding great, signifies that because they had confirmed themselves in such falsities, they have denied truth to that degree as not to be able to acknowledge them. By reason of the repugnancies arising from their interior falsities and evils. Repugnancies, what is this? I forgot. Repugnancies.
Repugnances.
Revulsion. Antipathy. Antipathy.
Antipathy.
Antipathy. Antipathy. Repugnancies. Arising from their interior falsities and evils. To blaspheme God signifies to deny and not to acknowledge the Lord alone to be the God of heaven and earth, and in like manner the truth of the word, for the plague thereof was exceeding great, signifies by reason of those direful and atrocious falsities on the atrocious falsities from the confirmed dogma of justification by faith alone. The reason why they cannot acknowledge truth on account of those falsities is because the confirmation of falsity is the denial of truth. It appears as if it was meant that the plague of hell was so great that from torment of or pain they blasphemed God when it fell upon them. But this is not meant but that they could not acknowledge truth on account of falsities, in like manner as before in this chapter, where it is said that they blasphemed the name of God on account of the heat. Verse 9. And that they blasphemed the God of heaven because of their distresses and sores. The verse 11 and the explanation of which may be seen. To the above, I will add this relation. In the spiritual world, I spoke with some English bishops concerning the small works published there at London in the year 1758, which were concerning heaven and hell, concerning the New Jerusalem and its heavenly doctrine, concerning the last judgment, concerning the white horse, and concerning the earths in the universe, which small works were sent as a gift to all the bishops and to many of the nobles of lords. They said that they received them and saw them, but did not think them worthy, although skillfully written, and likewise that they persuaded as many as they could not to read them. I asked, why so, when yet there are the arcana concerning heaven and hell, and concerning the life after death, and more things most worthy of attention, which have been related by the Lord for those who will be of his new church, which is the New Jerusalem. But they said, what is this to us? And they poured out vituperations. What is this? Vituperations.
Vituperations.
Vituperations, like swearing. Vituperations. Vituperations. Against them as formerly in the world. I heard them, and then these things were read before them from Revelation. And the sixth angel poured out his vial upon the great river Euphrates, and the water of it was dried up, that the way of the kings from the rising of the sun might be prepared. And I saw out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, 3 unclean spirits like frogs, for they are spirits of demons, doing signs to go away unto the kings of the earth, unto of the whole world, to gather them together, unto the battle of that great day of God Almighty. And he gathered them together into the place called in Hebrew Armageddon. How to pronounce Armageddon?
Armageddon.
Armageddon. Called in Hebrew Armageddon. In Hebrew, Armageddon. Revelation 16:12-16. This was explained before them, and it was said that they and similar persons elsewhere were meant by these things. The king, grandfather to the king now reigning, heard from heaven these things, which were said to the bishops, and being somewhat indignant, said, "What is this?" And then a certain one of them, who had not made one with them in the world, turned to the king and said, "These whom you now see with your eyes, thought in the world, and hence also think now of the Lord's divine human, as to the human of a common man, and attribute all salvation and redemption to God the Father, and not to the Lord, except as a cause for the sake of which they are. For they believe in God the Father and not in his Son, although they know from the Lord that it is the will of the Father that they should believe in the Son, and that they who believe in the Son should have eternal life, and that they who do not believe in the Son will not see life. Besides this, they cast out charity, which is done by the Lord through man as by him, from the smallest nation. Speaking further with the king, he exposed the hierarchy which many of them continually affect and also exercise, which they strengthen by conjunction and combination with all of their order, by means of emissaries in internuncius. What is this? Emissaries?
Internuncios.
Like
Internuncios.
internuncius, I don't know.
Vatican diplomats. The Vatican from the Catholic Church.
Okay, thanks.
It's the so it's for the civil government of the Vatican. So they help governs diplomatic social issues. I think they have to the diplomats for like social government for the Catholic Church and the Vatican. So an ambassador of the Pope.
Okay, got it.
Intermediary.
Internuncios.
Internuncius. Okay. Letters and conversations upheld by ecclesiastical and at the same time political authority, from which they almost all hold together like one bundle. And it is also affected by that hierarchy that the above named works for the New Jerusalem, though published at London and sent to them as a gift, have been so shamefully rejected that they have not even been held worthy to be named among the books of their catalogue. On hearing this, the king was astonished, especially at their thinking so of the Lord, who yet is the God of heaven and earth, and of charity, which yet is religion itself. And then the interiors of their mind and faith were laid open by light let in from heaven. And the king saw, and then said, "Depart, alas, who can grow so callous against hearing anything concerning heaven and eternal life?" Callous. It's like callous, big callous.
callous,
Callous is like heartless. Heartless. Callous. Against hearing anything concerning heaven and eternal life. The king then inquired when so universal an obedience was paid to them by the clergy, and it was said that it was from the authority conceded to every bishop in his diocese. In his diocese. What's that? What is this?
diocese,
Diocese. Like eparchy.
eparchy,
Eparchy, diocese, eparchy. In his diocese, of nominating to the king only the candidate to the churches and not three, as in other kingdoms. Also that from that power they had the influence to advance the dependents to higher honors and larger incomes, each one according to the obedience which he manifests. It was also disclosed how far that hierarchy might go, and that it might advance so far that a dominion would be the essential and religion formal. The door of these for dominion was also laid open and viewed by the angels, and it was seen to exceed the adore for dominion, adore, like
ardor,
ada. It's like zeal, passion. Ada, exceeding the ada for dominion of those who are in secular authority. Any comments, maybe? Before we read next chapter, chapter 17, Revelation 17. Maybe someone wants to read Revelation 17. And there came one of the seven angels that had the seven vials, and spoke with me, saying unto me, Come, I will show thee the judgment of the great harlot, that sitteth upon many waters, with whom the kings of the earth have committed whoredom, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her whoredom. And he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. And the woman was arrayed in purple.
Covered
Arrayed.
in purple.
arrayed,
Dressed in purple, covered in purple. Wearing
Dressed.
Purple clothes.
Dressed.
Yeah.
Dressed, arrayed. Thank you.
Covered in purple.
Arrayed in purple and scarlet, and in road with gold.
inreat,
In reed.
inreat,
Inwrought. It's wrought in English. Actually, that's a mispronunciation. It's inwrought.
In road with gold, like dressed. Dressed with gold, yeah, like.
And wrought means embedded or embroidered. And so, like in wrought would be, so wrought is like shaped. Inwrought is like embedded or embroidered with like a pattern or decoration.
Inwrought with gold, and precious stones and pearls, having a golden cup in her hand, full of abominations and uncleanness of her whoredom. And upon her forehead was a name written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of whoredoms and abominations of the earth. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the witnesses of Jesus. And when I saw her, I wondered with great wonder. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore didst thou wonder? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that thou sawest was and is not, and is about to come up out of the abyss, and to go into perdition, and they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, seeing the beast that was and is not, and yet is. This is the mind that hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, where the woman sitteth upon them. And they are 7 kings, 5 have fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he is come, he must remain a short time. And the beast that was and is not is himself the 8th, and is of 7, and he goeth into perdition. And the 10 horns which thou sawest are 10 kings, who have not yet received a kingdom, but they receive authority as kings 1 hour with the beast. These have one mind, and they shall give other their power and authority unto the beast. These shall fight with the Lamb, but the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and they who are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. And he saith unto me, The waters which thou sowest, how to pronounce?
Seest.
Maybe sowest, like sowest, where the harlot sitteth, are peoples and multitudes, and nations and tongues. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the harlot, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her up with fire. For God gave unto their hearts to do his mind, and to do one mind, and to give the kingdom unto the beast, until the words of God shall be consummated. And the woman whom thou sawest is the great city that hath a kingdom over the kings of the earth. The spiritual sense, the contents of the whole chapter. Concerning the Roman Catholic religion, it is described in what manner it had falsified the word, and thence had perverted all the truths of the Church, verse 1:7, how it had falsified and perverted them with those who were subject to its dominion, verse 8:11, that it was less with those who had not thus subjected themselves to its dominion, verses 12-15, concerning the Reformed, that they had withdrawn themselves from the yoke of its dominion, from the yoke of its domination, verses 16-17, concerning its domination still, verse 18. The contents of each verse. Verse 1. And there came one of the 7 angels that had the 7 vials, and spoke with me. Signifies influx and revelation now from the Lord out of the inmost of heaven concerning the Roman Catholic religion. saying unto me, I will show thee the judgment of the great harlot that sitteth upon many waters. Signifies revelation concerning that religion, as to its profanations and adulterations of the truth of the word. Verse 2. With whom the kings of the earth committed whoredom, signifies that it has adulterated the truth and goods of the church which are from the word. And the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of the her whoredom, signifies insanity in spiritual things from the adulteration of the word with those who are in that religion. Verse 3. And he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, signifies that he was carried in a spiritual state of those with whom all things of the church were devastated. And I saw a woman sitting upon a scarlet beast, full of names of blasphemy, signifies that religion founded upon the word profaned by them. Having 7 heads and 10 horns signifies intelligence from the word. Holy at the beginning, afterwards none, and at length insanity and much power from the word continually. Verse 4. And the woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet. Arrayed, yeah, dressed. Was arrayed in purple and scarlet signifies the celestial divine good and divine truth, which are of the word among them. And inwrought with gold and precious stones signifies spiritual divine good and divine truth, which are of the word with them. And pearl signifies the knowledges of good and truth, which are of the word with them. Having a golden cup in her hand full of abominations and uncleanness of her whoredom, signifies that religion from the holy things of the word profaned, and from its goods and truths defiled by direful falsities. Verse 5. Upon her forehead written, Mystery, Babylon, the great, the mother of whoredoms and abominations of the earth, signifies the Roman Catholic religion as to its interior quality which is concealed, that from its origin, from the love of dominating, from the love of self over the holy things of the church and over heaven, and thus over all things of the Lord and his word, it has defiled and profaned the things which are of the word and thence of the church. Verse 6. And I saw the woman drunken with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the witnesses of Jesus, signifies that religion insane from adulterated and profaned divine truths and goods of the Lord, of the word, and thence of the church. And when I saw her, wondered with great wonder, signifies astonishment that religion is such interiorly, when yet it appears otherwise exteriorly. Verse 7. And the angel said unto me, Wherefore dost thou wonder? I will tell thee the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carrieth her, which hath the 7 heads and the 10 horns. Signifies the disclosure of what the things which precede and were seen signify. Verse 8. The beast which thou sawest was and is not signifies the word acknowledged as holy with them, and yet really not acknowledged, and is about to come up out of the abyss and to go into perdition, signifies deliberation, like liberation,
Deliberation.
like discussion, consideration, reflection, deliberation. At different times in the papal consistory, papal. It's about pope.
Papal.
Papal, pontifical. Consistory, papal consistory.
Consistory.
Consistory. What is consistory? Maybe we can see picture consistory. What is consistory? Papal consistory. Maybe any doctrine of a pope. Consistory. Yeah, this is for like this is consistory. It's like assembly. Maybe. Okay. Consistory. Wow. And this is too consistory. Okay. It means consistory in the Roman Catholic Church, the council of cardinals, with or without the Pope, like council. The papal consistory respecting the reception and reading of the word by the laity and the common people, but rejected. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder, whose names were not written in the Lamb's book of life from the foundation of the world.
Oh my god.
Seeing the beast. Sorry, what? Hello. Seeing the beast which was and is not, and yet is, signifies the amazement of those who are in that religion. All who from its establishment have aimed at dominion over heaven and earth, that the word, although thus rejected, still is. Verse 9. This is the mind that hath wisdom, signifies that this is the interpretation of the natural sense, but for those who are in the spiritual sense from the Lord. The 7 heads are 7 mountains, where the woman sitteth upon them, verse 10, and they are 7 kings, signifies the divine goods and divine truths of the word, upon which that religion is founded, destroyed in time, and at length profaned. 5 have fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he is come, he must remain a short time.
Why are you reading?
It's because it's a very wise and smart book, because it's the book of Emanuel Swedenborg. It's about spiritual meaning. The book of Revelation, chapter 17.
Wait, is that the Bible?
Yeah, it's about spirit. This book is about spiritual meaning of the Bible, spiritual meaning of the book of Revelation.
So what's happening if I'm Muslim?
What's happening? What? Sorry, say that again.
What's happening if I'm Muslim?
If you read this book, you can understand how to interpret Quran in spiritual sense, because Quran has spiritual meaning too, and by using this method, Swedenborg gives us, you can interpret Quran in spiritual sense, and you can understand Quran in right way.
Why would you want to learn about spirits, though?
What? Sorry, maybe your accent. Say it again. I didn't catch.
Why would you
what
want
say.
to learn about spirits?
Because I want to make the world a better place, And actually, this book is about that, because it's about how can we build an ideal just society here on earth as it is in heaven. And Jesus commanded us to pray about that, and it means God wants that, and we want the same thing, like this.
Okay.
Because there are a lot of injustice in the world, and this idea is demanded in the world, and I want to make the world a better place.
Okay, have a good day, bro.
Thank you.
Wait,
Thank
but
you.
to make the world a better place, that would mean everyone has the same ideology, right?
Yeah. A lot of people dream about that,
But
and
isn't that kind of impossible? Since there's always going to be people that think differently.
it is possible if you have one teaching and doctrine, if you understand that God is the owner of our planet Earth, and it means
Isn't there always going to be some that don't believe it and will be naive?
can you repeat? Sorry, I didn't
But
understand.
in your perfect world, since everyone has the ideology, don't you think it's impossible since there will always be people that are naive and don't believe teachings?
I think it is impossible to build an ideal just society without God. Yeah, because for example, Karl Marx wanted to build that ideal just society, and he called his idea communism, but he took that idea from the Bible, because the first church had communism model in it.
Yeah,
Like
but what I'm saying is, wouldn't there be some people that just don't believe in the ideology, making the world impossible to be perfect?
that because it's our responsibility to teach people about the truth, because nobody wants to be deceived, and it's about how can we stop wars, for example, how can we remove hatred and greed in the world. Because we should understand that the planet Earth belongs to everybody. It belongs to everyone. Because if you understand that God is the owner of our planet Earth, it means if you understand that God loves everyone, it means that the planet Earth belongs to everybody. Because and it is about justice, you see.
Alright, thank you. You can continue reading.
It's about because it's about how can you understand God's plan. God's plan. What is God's plan?
Drake.
What? Sorry, what? It's about God's plan.
Did you say God's plan? Like this song?
Your voice.
So
Song
wait,
what?
are you saying God's plan? So are you saying that the guy that made God's plan, that is Drake, are you saying that Drake is God?
Drake? Who is Drake? I don't know. Drake. Sorry
Bro,
for my English. Maybe we can read this book, and you can understand the point of view of Swedenborg, because a lot of
okay.
great people were influenced by books of Swedenborg, and actually it's about how can you make the world a better place. Because Swedenborg is a genius and he has third highest IQ in history. His IQ is 206. That because his books are very smart and wise, and if you are able to understand and comprehend his books, it means that your IQ is more than 100. And only by our intelligence and intellect we can make the world a better place.
Okay. Can you continue, please?
When he's come, Yeah, 5 have fallen and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he is come, he must remain a short time, signifies that all the divine truths of the world have been destroyed, except this one, that all the power in heaven and in earth was given to the Lord. Do you see, we should understand that all the power in heaven and in earth was given to the Lord. And if God has all power in heaven and in earth, it means that God wants everyone to be happy, yeah? Because God loves everyone. And except another which has not yet come into question, but will not remain, which is that the Lord's human is divine. Verse 11, and the beast that was and is not is himself the eighth, and is of the seven, and he goeth into perdition, signifies that the word is explained above as the divine good itself, and that it is the divine truth then that is taken away from the laity and the common people, lest the profanations and adulterations made in it by their leaders should appear, and they should on that account recede. Verse 12, and the 10 horns and 10 kings, who have not yet received a kingdom, signifies the word as to power from divine truth, which those who are in the kingdom of France, and are not so much under the yoke of the papal dominion, with whom, however, there has not yet been formed a church fully separated from the Roman Catholic religion. But they receive authority as kings in 1 hour with the beast, signifies that the word has power with them, and they by the word are as of if they were in its divine truth. Verse 13, these have one mind, and they shall give the power and authority to the beast. Signifies that they acknowledge anonymously. What is it?
Unanimously.
Unanimously. Unanimously, like solidly.
Amicably.
Amicably. Unanimously. They acknowledge unanimously that government and dominion over the church are solely through the word. Verse 14, these shall fight with the Lamb, but the Lamb shall overcome them, for he is the Lord, the Lords and King of kings, signifies the Lord's combat with them concerning the acknowledgement of his divine human, because in it the Lord is the God of heaven and earth, and is also the Word. And they who are with him are called, chosen, and faithful, signifies that they who approach and worship the Lord alone are they that come into heaven, as well they who are in the externals of the church, as they that are in its internals and inmost. Verse 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the harlot sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, signifies that they are under the papal dominion, but in the truth of the word, variously adulterated and profaned by that religion, who are in its varieties of doctrine and discipline, and its varieties of religion and confession. Verse 16, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the harlot, signifies the word as to power from divine truth, with the Protestants, who have altogether cast off from themselves the yoke of the papal dominion, and shall make her desolate and naked, signifies that they will put off from themselves its falsities and evils, and shall eat her flesh and burn her up with fire signifies that from hatred they will condemn and destroy from among themselves the evils and falsities which are proper to that religion, and will hold that religion itself accursed, and will blot it out from among them. Verse 17. For God gave unto their hearts to do his mind, and to do one mind, and to give their kingdom unto the beast, signifies judgment with them from the Lord, that they should altogether repudiate. What is this? Repudiate. Repudiate.
repudiate,
Repudiate, like reject. Repudiate. And hold accursed. And hold accursed.
accursed,
Accursed. Accursed. And hold accursed the Roman Catholic religion, and should destroy and root it out from among themselves. And the unanimous judgment that they should acknowledge the word, and should found the church upon it, until the words of God should be consummated, signifies until all the things which have been foretold concerning them shall be fulfilled. Verse 18. And the woman whom thou sawest is the great city that hath a kingdom over the kings of the earth, signifies that the Roman Catholic religion reigns as to doctrine in the Christian world, and also still in some measure among the Reformed, although they are not under the papal dominion. And the explanation, it's the inner meaning of every verse. Verse 1. What goes before, from chapter 7 to chapter 16, inclusive treats of the Reformed. And this chapter and the next treat of the papists, among whom they who have claimed it to themselves the power of opening and shutting heaven are meant by Babylon. Here therefore it shall first be said what is specifically meant by Babylon. By Babylon, 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 Babylon,
Babylon,
Babylon, Babylon, Babel, Babylon, Babel,
Babel,
Babel, or Babylon, by Babylon or Babel is meant the love of dominion over the holy things of the church from self-love, and because that love ascends in proportion as the reins are relaxed to it, and as the holy things of the church are also the holy things of heaven. Therefore, by Babylon or Babel is also signified dominion over heaven. And because this love thus acts the part of the devil, because it aspires to the same things, aspires,
aspires,
like pretend, strive, dream of, because it aspires to the same things, it cannot do otherwise than profane things holy by adulterating the goods and truth of the word. Therefore, by Babylon or Babel is also signified the profanation of what is holy, and the adulteration of the good and truth of the word. Such is the signification of Babylon here in Revelation, and of Babel in the prophetic and historical word in these passages. Concerning Babel, behold, the day of Jehovah cometh cruel. The stars of the heavens and the constellations thereof shall not shine with the light. The sun is darkened in his rising, and the moon shall not cause her light lumen to shine. I will cause the exaltation of the proud to cease, and I will humble the pride of the violent. Babel, the ornament of kingdoms, shall be as God's overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah. The Zim, it's like maybe, it's like maybe name, any name. The Zim shall lie there. Their houses shall be filled with the Ochim. Zim, maybe we can see the meaning of Zim. 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 What is Zim? Search. Zim shall lie. It doesn't have. The Zim shall lie there. Their houses shall be lifted with the Ochim. What is Ochim? Lifted. Ochim. I don't know. And the daughters of the old shall dwell there, and the satyrs shall dance there. The Egypt shall answer in her palaces, and the dragons, like any, and maybe any creatures, like animals, Egypt,
Ijim.
shall answer in her palaces, and the dragons in the palaces of her delights. Isaiah 13:1, 9, 11. Besides many other things in the whole of the chapter. Thou shalt declare this parable concerning the king of Babel. Thy magnificence is brought down into hell. Thy magnificence is brought down into hell. Thou hast fallen from heaven. O Lucifer, thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend the heavens above the stars of God. I will exalt my throne. I will ascend above the heights of the cloud. I will become like the Most High. But yet thou shalt be brought down to hell. I will rise against thee, and will cut off from Babel the name and residue. Residue. What is this?
Residue.
Residue like remnant. Residue. Besides more things in the whole chapter. Jehovah hath spoken against Babel. Your mother was exceedingly ashamed. She that brought you forth was suffused with shame. Behold, the last end shall be a wilderness. Behold, the last end shall be a wilderness, and dry land and desert. Set yourselves in array against Babel round about. Shoot against her, spare no arrows, no arrows. How is Babel become a desolation among the nations? She acted insolently against Jehovah, insolently.
Insolently.
Insolently, like arrogantly. Haughtily. Insolently against Jehovah, against the Holy One of Israel. A drought is upon her waters. A drought is upon her waters, that they may dry up, because it is a land of graven images, and it glorious in horrible things. Therefore the Azim shall dwell there with the Ejim, and the owls shall dwell therein, as God's overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah. Jeremiah 51, 12, 14, 23, 29, 31, 38, 40. Besides many other things concerning Babel in that whole chapter. Babel is a cup of gold in the hand of Jehovah, making the whole earth drunken. The nations have drunk of her wine, therefore they are mad. Forsake her, for her judgment hath reached to the heavens, and hath lifted itself up even to the clouds. Behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, that destroyest the whole earth. I will roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a mountain of burning. I will visit upon Baal in Babel. I will bring forth his morsel. What is morsel? Morsel.
Morsel.
Like chunk.
Chunk.
Chunk. Morsel. Out of his mouth, that the nations may no longer flow together into him. Yeah, the wall of Babel shall fall. Behold, the days are coming in which I will visit upon the graven images of Babel, that her whole land may be ashamed. Though Babel should ascend into the heavens, and though she should fortify the high places of her strength, from me shall wasters come. Yea, I will make drunk her princes and her wise ones, and her leaders and her primates,
Primates.
like cats, primates, that they may sleep the sleep of an age and not awake. Jeremiah 51, 1, 7, 9, 25, 44, 47, 53, 57. Besides many other things concerning Babel in that whole chapter. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babel. Sit on the earth, there is no throne. Take the millstones and grind meal, uncover the thigh, and pass over the streams. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered, thy disgrace shall be seen. Thou hast said, I shall be mistress to eternity. Thou didst not remember the end. Thou hast trusted in thy wickedness. Thou hast said, no one seeth me. Thy wisdom and thy knowledge hath seduced thee. When thou saidst in thy heart, I, and there is none else like me. Devastation shall come suddenly, thou shalt not know. Persist in thy enchantment. Mic was not working and never told me. Mm-hmm. 1 second.